Recently, I was watching this video by John Green that really astonished me, where he was talking about his experiences with depression. And what surprised me was the fact that after years of facing this challenge and trying all sorts of things, he was still in the process of learning, of trying one thing, the next, and at times one would work, at times one wouldn't. But in the end, it was just this process of always learning. And in my own life recently, with the stresses of the pandemic, I've been feeling lonely, and I've noticed a few changes like not enjoying the things I used to. So, for example, not liking food. That's a big one that I noticed. And also feeling like my relationships weren't where I wanted them to be, not having as much energy getting up as I used to. And in this stress, in this moment of negativity, I found myself being really affected by John Green's message. And in the theme of keeping on learning during this time of challenge, of knowing that one can get better and just really improve themselves, I wanted to make this video to really quickly dive into the 5 major lessons I've learned from having my personal experiences with loneliness. Now, to get started, the first thing that has helped me more than anything else has been just to keep in mind that regardless of whether I'm feeling sad in a moment or happy in a moment, the moment is still just a moment, and in just a little while, it too shall pass. I've had so many days where I went to bed not feeling in the best mood, not feeling ready to face the next day, but the next day I would have, other worries to think about, and the things that I kept going on in my mind, those weren't as significant even after just a few hours as I thought they would be. And I just kept on saying to myself, this too shall pass. And I think that when it comes to dealing with mental health challenges, honestly, one of the hardest things is just learning to quiet that voice in your head, to be able to move forward and focus on other things. So I'm really glad I learned this lesson. Now, even though things were changing, I still could be nervous. I still face challenges like, for instance, not finding the same interest that I used to. And for dealing with that, the second thing that I learned was to actually just get my mind on new focuses. I mean, examples like what I said before. I felt like I didn't like food as much, but I did notice that I was starting to get interested in board games. Specifically, I played Catan for the first time during the past few months, and I just really enjoyed that. Or more recently, I've just been staring at the stars at night. When I am getting ready to go to bed, I'll just go outside for a little bit and just look at the sky. And I like these tiny moments that I can create for myself. It reminds me that in spite of all of the stress that I might be dealing with, everything is constantly changing, including myself and the world around me. And because of that, just trying to find these new focuses that I could like and get my mind off of the past that was forgone, that really helped me keep on moving forward. The third thing that really helped me wasn't actually about me at all. For me, the cause of my mental health challenges was just feeling a little bit lonely and disconnected from my friends. Unfortunately, given the stress and time challenges of the pandemic, they just weren't able to make time for me in the way that I might have wanted. But that made me think about how, if I was feeling that way, wouldn't other people at some point also be in the same situation? Because of that, I thought about how I could be the supporter for them that I wish I had during my struggles, and that actually really helped me personally. As an example, recently, a student at my school unfortunately passed away, and I found that because I didn't know the person as closely, I was able to cope a little bit better than some of the people in my environment, and as a result, I could be the person first messaging, checking in with people, and I hope that during that day, when I was doing that for everyone, that helped a little bit. But personally, I just know that at the end of the day, I just felt so much better knowing that I could be there to be of service to someone. The fourth thing that really helped me was actually just learning to trust myself on one key thing. I knew that I couldn't be perfect, I knew that I wasn't good at everything, but given my background, I knew that for me, a trait that I could really embody was being reliable. Growing up as an immigrant, we always had different uncertainties with jobs changing, with moves happening, but I just knew throughout it all, we were fine. And given that background, it was easier for me to accept that I might not be okay right now, but I will keep on going. I will survive. I will go and figure out the next thing to help myself. And that really related to John Green's story of just trying one thing, the next thing, meditation, self-help books, self-care, whatever. But knowing that I could trust myself on that one thing, it just had some aspect of myself where I knew I could be strong regardless of the difficulty that was going on. And finally, the last thing that really helped me was just to enjoy the roller coaster I was on. Depression was like mood swings from being in insanely low lows to just enormously high highs, but throughout it all, though it would have been more convenient to just have stable emotions, I just knew that in the future there would be a moment where I would be worse off, and it was better that I had prepared now, that I was ready for that moment, instead of facing that worse off moment just fully cold, not having any experiences. So the last thing I realized was, even though this experience was negative, I'll be in worse situations in the future, and I'd rather have the practice of dealing with negative mental health now so that I could better deal with it in the future. Now, with those 5 lessons mentioned, the last thing I just want to say is that is just my journey. It was just my experience with my lessons, with my problem, and I know that in the end I'm not perfect. So for everyone who might be listening, just want to say that mental health challenges are your journey. They are the things that only you can figure out, and I just wanted to share this in case for someone else's circumstances it happens to be the same, and for myself, so that I can keep growing and know that I was able to get over this one hurdle and better prepare for the next one in my phase of life.